Modern and postmodern architecture. Postmodernism is an eclectic, colorful style of architecture and the decorative arts that appeared from the late 1970s and continues in some form today. It emerged as a reaction to modernism and modern movement and the dogmas associated with it. By the 1970s, modernism had begun to seem elitist and exclusive, despite its democratic intentions. Rejecting ornament and embracing minimalism, modernism became the single most important new style or philosophy of architecture and design of 20th century. It was associated with an analytical approach to the function of buildings, a strictly rational use of often new materials, structural innovation, and the elimination of ornament. It was also known as International Modernism or International Style after an exhibition of modernist architecture in America in 1932 by the architect Philip Johnson. The style became characterized by an emphasis on volume, asymmetrical compositions, and minimal ornamentation. In Britain, the term modern movement has been used to describe the rigorous modernist designs of 1930s to the early 1960s. Walter Gropius and Le Corbusier were the pioneers of the movement, with the latter having a profound impact on the design of many public housing schemes in Britain. Now let's go for their similarities. Modernism and postmodernism architecture both refer to a design the movement emerged in 20th century. Although they might as well follow similar key ideas in design, there are still massive differences between the modernist and postmodernist architecture. The main differences between these architecture styles will be discussed by referring to some of the architects' perception toward modern and postmodern architecture. Modern architecture focuses largely on the functionality of the form and are basically identified by the form follows function. Okay. According to one of the most postmodernist architect, Dennis Scott Brown, modern architects were focusing on demolishing the historical buildings and replacing them with modern buildings to adapt them to the rapid technological development. Moreover, modern architecture defines the beauty of designs in a different way. They look for the beauty of design in its simplicity by removing the unnecessary details, acknowledging that less is more. They emphasize the notions of truth to the materials by exposing the true nature of materials without adding any extra layers to them, such as painting and polishing. Furthermore, in modern architecture, the majority of the building's structures were about verticality and horizontality. Here are some examples of modern architecture. On the contrary, Postmodern architects found this notion of simplicity in design truly unattractive. They emphasize the function through the meaning and originality of a building. Postmodernism's focal point is more about incorporating the historical elements and creating a unique style in order to associate with the buildings with their culture and history. In other words, they highlight the importance of creating a sense of place by building a strong relationship among city's occupants with its historical buildings. Whereas modern architecture lacks cultural depth. Postmodern architecture combines the natural materials within classical forms to contradict the influence of industrial development on architecture. They believe modernism does not respond to its contextualism or what people need. Postmodernist architecture brought playfulness to a design, replacing modern flat roof with pitch roof, solid walls instead of glass, as it is evident in the Vena Venturi house, designed by Robert Venturi. He believed that less is a bore, meaning that the lack of detail and visual aesthetics is clearly leading the buildings to become soulless. Now, here are some examples of postmodern architecture. That would be all. Thank you.